So here we are. Engine is out of the car and in the hoist. And before I put it into the engine stand, I'm gonna remove the clutch and the flywheel. Okay, so now the clutch is off. It's a lot of oily mess behind there. I think it's been leaking for a while. The pilot bearing for the input shaft on the transmission is a little bit dinged up, probably after the removal. Had to fight the transmission a little bit. Or the transmission was okay, but the exhaust manifolds were not coming loose, or the dome pipes, if you can call it the dome pipe. So actually had to cut the manifolds just to saw them off, just to get the engine out. And in that process, I think we dinged up it's probably the dust cover in front of the bearing, but I have to buy a new one to put in the other engine. And the rear main seal also looks a bit wet and dirty. So, clutch looks fine. Flywheel is nice. Color looks good. There hasn't been any heat to this, and the friction material on the disc is also very nice. A lot of material left. The pressure plate is fine. Has a little bit of a groove in it on both sides. I don't know what happened here, but probably something came loose and was trapped inside for a while. But I'm just gonna make a new finish on this, on both these sides, and also the flywheel. Gonna just refresh the surface finish, and put this back on over to the other engine. So yeah, now it's time to get this engine into the engine stand, and we can compare and start moving parts over to the new engine. So here we are, both engines side by side, and you can see this one is the smaller M116, like M116, and this is I think it's 3.5, 3.8 and 4.2. I may be wrong at this, but I think that is the displacement options on the M116. It's a smaller engine than the M117, but this one is pretty much the same. They are a bit different in some ways, like the brackets for the alternator I need to remove and put over because this one is a different type. And also there are some small changes. You can see the oil filter on this one is pointing out of the side, and on the 17 one it goes down on the side of the sump. So, but pretty much you can see the oil thermostat for the oil cooler. It's the same one, only location is a bit different. So hopefully everything fits in a car. That's my worst worry at the time, that when it's time to hoist this thing back in, it's touching something, but I don't think so. The location of everything looks good. The exhaust manifolds are of a different design. You can see this one goes down in the end, and on the smaller engine you actually have two outlets that I had to cut off. So yeah, different story. But on the other side we have one outlet pretty much in the rear inside towards the block, and on the small engine it's pretty much the same. This one is actually quite identical, I think. Yeah, so you can see here the difference on the old engine. We have different vacuum actuators. This one is controlled by the water temp on the engine, and it opens and closes for the ventilation from the crank ventilation. And all this stuff right here we are gonna remove, as you see on this one. It's much cleaner and much more of a different setup than the original one. You can see the display distributor on this, and here is open space. We took it off. Also, I'm gonna make a plate, or I'm gonna weld this one. I'm not totally sure what I'm gonna do. Maybe the nicest thing is to cut this off and weld the holes. I think that would be nice, like a smooth look. But the other option is to make a small aluminum plate and just tighten it down. But we don't need that. This is a water passage that goes together with the in the same casting as the air. So yeah, different solutions back in the days than now. Nowadays we try to get everything as cool as possible in the inlet side. But here you have coolant running through the inlet manifold. So you have some sensors. I think we need those for the instrumentation in the car. And I need, actually maybe I can use this hole for the water coolant for the Max ECU. I think that one needs water temperature to operate correctly, and maybe I use that hole for that. But you see the difference. It's really chaotic. All these connections, all these tubes, everything is really messy, and I'm glad we're not using that again, because a lot of these rubber hoses are really cracking, and they are stiff and they are bad, and I don't know how easy it is to get new ones. And they have odd shapes like this. You need to get a factory one. If you're gonna find this one on the aftermarket, I think you're really lucky, because it's especially made for this type of engine and engine cover and so on. So on this engine there is a oiling tube. I made a short video of that earlier, but this, you can see that this tube is completely loose, and that is really bad, because they have the same design both on this small engine but also on the 450 and 500. This is the oiler for the camshafts. It gets oil feed from the bearing housings, and it has small holes underneath here that oils the, it's hard to see, but there are some tiny holes, one for each cam lobe, and this one, they spray oil down on the cam lobes. As you see, they get brittle by time. They break off, like that guy breaks off, and then you start bleeding oil pressure out of this. It starts to leak. This is actually made from plastic. That is pretty impressive, or not, I don't think so. But this is an old engine, and they already started using plastic parts inside of them. They have some grooves in them to keep them from coming loose like this, but once they are broken off, they are completely loose. And just imagine if this stays on like this, you have no oil pressure on the camshaft bearings whatsoever, neither on the cam lobes. So this is a crucial part for the design of the M116 and M117 engines. I checked the ones in this one, and they are good. So I think we are good on this one. They are really hard to lift and seems to be sealing good. So, but we are not going to tear into this engine. The customer doesn't want to use time on that. So the first priority is to get this one up and running in the car and start to program the ECU and get everything going, actually. Yeah. So now comes the task of putting everything over from this engine to the engine we're gonna use. You see the brackets on the alternator has this spacing, and you see this one is a totally different design. So hopefully it doesn't meet too much of those problems, but I think we're good. But I'm gonna start ripping into the engine, removing stuff, and move it over to the one we're gonna use. Yeah, okay. So, found some more differences between those two engines. They get a completely different sump. It's a lot bigger on the 450. Obviously, needs more oil maybe. I don't know, but it's a different style. It's a bit deeper. Don't think that will matter in the car, but there is something that we need to find out before installing the thing. Also on the M116, the small engine, you have this supportive extra support engine mount that goes in the front, and this one doesn't fit because of the dipstick. So the dipstick has a different route than the other engine. So due to the difference in sumps, I don't think we should swap the dipsticks, because then we'll measure the wrong depth. So I'm gonna modify this one. I'm gonna try to bend it a bit backwards and make a slight curve to it so it passes the bracket. So I managed to fit the bracket for the third engine mount. I had to cut it a little bit over here because the chain tensioner is a little bit bigger on the 450. Also had to do some modifications due to the dipstick going behind it, and it was a little flange up in here that hit the dipstick, but now it's okay. Had to cut a little piece off, but it shouldn't do anything structural to the. It's all rubber mounts, and it's really sturdy. So I'll move on and change over this. Oh, it's bad lighting here, I see. But there is differences in the engine mounts, the big engine mounts as well. So I'm gonna remove those and put on the right ones. So got the power steering pump and the alternator moved over. Everything fits just like on the other engine. The brackets are different, but the mounting holes on the brackets are exactly the same, which I'm very glad for. Got some new belts I'm gonna install. It's 2 for the drive on the water pump and a servo pump, and then a single one onto the alternator. And as you have 4 grooves on this crank pulley, you actually have 1 spare, but I think that is probably for the AC compressor, which this engine doesn't have. So 3 belts going on. orange glows are back on, and we are at it at the Project Red Pig. Been some days since the last clip, but status is that 2 of these belts are 10 millimeters and 1 is 13. So had to do some shopping, get the right belts, but now everything is up and running, should be, and changed over the servo, changed over the alternator, and did change everything you saw with the engine mounts. Also did a little bit of other stuff regarding the back of the engine. In the M117 you have this pipe going out from a small connection on the back of this. It seemed to be an oil pipe. That pipe you don't have on the other engine, the original engine, so it's just blocked off. And also a little bit changes on the vacuum line for the brake booster, and the different hoses for the heating core and stuff like that. So a lot of small things is different. Also the threads for the oil sensor is different, so I have to change that. Luckily the threads in the head is the same, but the outgoing threads are different. So yeah, a lot of different stuff going on. So all these details take some time, but it is better to find them now than to find them when the engine is in the car. Especially on this side, it is hard to get there when you are installed in the car. So now I'm gonna take this engine in the engine hoist and take off the flywheel from the automatic transmission. It's not a flywheel actually, it's a plate. And put on the flywheel for the manual transmission. Also installing the center bearing and details like that. So yeah, that is the next thing that's going to happen now. So there we have the engine in the hoist, and time to get the disc off for the automatic transmission. We don't need that, so I'm going to take this off and start putting bearings in and mounting the flywheel and the clutch. So at this point the flywheel is mounted, the surface is refreshed, and the bolts are torqued, and we should be set for the pressure plate, also resurfaced. But first I need to make an alignment tool for the clutch. I don't have that, so I'm gonna take some plastic or aluminium in the lathe and make one. But first I'll put in the center bearing for the input shaft of the transmission. We need that on manual cars, as they have a support bearing inside of the crankshafts. So next up, bearing in, then making a tool so we can align the clutch plate while we're torquing the pressure plate. Okay, hang on. So here we are at the lathe. I'm gonna take this plastic part, POM plastic, and make a tip that goes inside the bearing, and also measure up the inside dimensions of the splines of the clutch plate. So these two dimensions are crucial for the alignment of this clutch plate. So I'll try to use this part as it's a scrap part I had laying around. So I'll start by turning it down to the diameter of the bearing inside the crankshaft.
Nice fit. It's a little too small, but it's pretty tight. We'll use that one for sure.
So this is the final piece. Easy two-stepped plastic part with the possibility to screw in a bolt and yank it out. So this goes, there's the coupling sight, goes in there, and this goes in here, and you need to hold this while torquing the torque plate, the pressure plate I mean, and then you can pull this one out. That's the whole idea. So, yep, I'm gonna torque down the pressure plate, and then actually we're ready to just do some minor precautions, and we can start lowering this one in the car. And that is a good thing. So now everything is torqued and marked. So if something moves later on, we will see it on the markings. You can see the alignment pretty dead on. So I think this will get the engine and transmission together without any big issues. Yes. So. Okay, I'll prepare this one for to be lowered inside of the chassis. So this is the result. The 450 M117 is in the car, and everything seems to be fitting. The pan clears everything, and yeah, really happy. I didn't film this process because it's a lot of back and forth, and yeah, it takes its time. Not much constructive to see, but clutch alignment was spot on. transmission and engine married together quite easily. And now it's all about hooking stuff up, splitting the harness to... I need to bring the connectors that feeds the instrument cluster. They need to live on, but everything else is going to be new harness and computerized ignition, computerized throttle body, everything new. So now begins the big job of making new harnesses and all the connections, all the computerized stuff. Also need to make a new exhaust system. I will do that first. I will take care of all the hardware first. So exhaust system, inlet system, and also making sure that all the cooling, oil coolers, everything is in place. Then hooking up the injection system, making everything from scratch, and hopefully have a successful startup and delivering this to the customer. Yeah, okay. Thank you for following along on this video number 2 for this car. I will make more videos. Also, several of you has requested a more detailed video about the injection system and the components used to build it and to make it function. And I will make a video of that as well. So yeah, hang along. Okay, goodbye. Thank you for watching.